We're already bridging the gap between AV and IT because a lot of the way our interfacing works with other products means that we can allow even IT people to be able to utilize our equipment quite easily.
I think there is a difference between them, certainly. The IT people are very much more process oriented. They have been in that process oriented type of thought process, I suppose, for virtually all of the time that they've been working in the IT environment. The AV people are a little bit more open with what they want to be able to try, and they want to be able to utilize new things as quickly as possible because they can see the benefits. The IT people are much more involved in keeping things secure, straight and reliable, because they know how many people within the organisation rely upon the IT structure of that organisation.
Because the skill set and the expertise are somewhat different, there's always going to be the problem of mapping the problem domain from one department to another. So trying to get the AV people to talk in terms the IT understands and vice versa. IT needs to learn the language of AV because they are two different worlds, but they're obviously been coming together more and more over the recent past.
The journey into integrating AV into the IT world has accelerated for us. We found that people took on things quickly.
The current unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in the world has actually helped us move that forwards. As we said in the Roundtable, it's made people understand and brought AV and video to the forefront. I still don't think people quite understand exactly what we do, what AV is, but it's certainly given it a bigger focus within the rest of the industry.
People are having to really rethink their approach to AV and look at it as a whole ecosystem, from the accessory that you plug into your laptop to the display or technology you have in your boardroom.
It's very important that people understand that when you're putting together an efficient system, you need to utilise everything within the system to make it work properly. And in some cases, you can get connectivity, but you can't get ease of use and also all of the capabilities there as well.
It's not difficult to predict the future, that companies aren't going to splash out big money in the near future. They're going to go for the cheaper options. They're going to go for the Google Hangouts. They're going to go for little plastic boxes with mics and speakers on, and then it will fall over in 2 years' time. More work for AV, more installs for AV. It's looking bright for AV. I mean, it really is.
I think people don't want to commit to one brand or one ecosystem. They want to be able to use they want to choose different elements to make their system up, and if you're not on board with interoperability, you are going to be rapidly left behind. Definitely.
The reason that IT does the things it does is because that they're tried and tested, and that they're cautious and careful in making sure that they deploy something which is tested for a number of reasons, security, but also if you test it before you deliver it and you know that it's right, you're not going to have to go and fix it at the other end and pay the costs of fixing something when it's in the field. So that's important. And then I think from an AV perspective, we need to have those learnings, but we need to bring them with us and actually maybe shorten them, squeeze them, and allow them to be a little bit more flexible. But yeah, I think that's where we should be going, and maybe that'll help the whole industry.
Somebody pinpointed that quite accurately yesterday when they said that IT was actually reactive and AV was actually proactive, and that's quite a good way of looking at it. And I think getting somewhere in the middle is the ideal scenario, obviously.
In the IT world, there's been well-defined standards for things like service management, service provision. We have our internal service desk and we have tickets and stuff like that. In the AV world, because I think it's more creative, you have to come to things with maybe a more creative aspect. I think the challenge is going to get the AV people to do things in a more formal sense and the IT guys to do things in a more creative sense. So, coming together in a middle ground that can work for both teams.